Welcome everyone to the Blacks in Technology BIT Tech Talk podcast, a show where we talk to Black people who are engineers, innovators, educators, inventors, changemakers, and entrepreneurs doing amazing things in the world of technology. The BIT Tech Talk podcast is where they show how they are stomping the divide by sharing their stories, experiences, ideas, knowledge, and perspective on tech with the BIT community.
Welcome everyone to the BIT Tech Talk podcast. I'm your host, Greg Greenlee. I am the founder of the Blacks in Technology organization. And tonight we have on our podcast as a guest, Andrea Parker. Andrea is a marketing project manager at Cisco Systems in Morrisville, North Carolina. She also serves as co-president of the Connected Black Professionals Network at Cisco, and she's a member of the Blacks in Technology-RDU Executive Board. She also co-owns the Parker Group Consulting LLC, which is a consulting firm that supports business branding and marketing needs, as well as career coaching. And Andrea is also an effective motivational speaker. So I'd like to welcome Andrea to the show. How's it going, Andrea?
Everything is well. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You are the second RDU person to join the podcast. We had Bobby on 1 or 2 episodes ago, so it's good to have someone else representing RDU and to talk about your journey in tech, as well as kind of what the happenings are at BIT RDU. So I do want to start off by saying thank you for being a servant leader of the Blacks in Technology RDU chapter. Your efforts are greatly appreciated. I appreciate everything you all do as leaders and keeping everyone engaged and keeping the mission going. So thank you.
Absolutely. Now I got some really big. I'm sorry, no, I was just going to say I got some big shoes to fill. You said that Bobby was up here a few weeks ago. Bobby that's the man. So, but I'm going to do RDU justice.
Okay, excellent. So Bobby, it sounds like he might be a hard act to follow, but we'll try to top that for sure. So tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about kind of where you're from, where you went to college, that type of thing.
Well, I'm born and raised in Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina, which is 252. Anybody know where that is? It's right, not too far from the Virginia line. I went to East Carolina University, graduated in 2013, and with my bachelor's in communications, and I went to North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. You cannot rush greatness. And I graduated in 2019 with my master's in information technology. I'm a mom. I'm here in the Raleigh area, but yes, I am a mom of a little boy named Noah. I feel like Noah is almost my colleague and my child. He goes to work with me. He's been to the BIT events, and so he's a big part of the reason why I'm even here. So yeah, and I'm a wife. I cannot forget that. That is the biggest thing. I'm a wife.
Very cool. Shout out to Noah. I got a son, Isaiah, so I love the biblical name stuff going on there.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about. You say you went to North Carolina A&T, which is an HBCU, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. Tell us a little bit about that experience. What was going to an HBCU like for you?
Well, I got the grad experience of going to an HBCU, which is totally different from the undergrad experience. I was at other HBCUs during my undergrad experience at ECU, and I saw what it was like, but unfortunately did not get a chance to experience the HBCU life as undergrad. However, being an Aggie has proven to be way more than I even expected, especially coming through grad chapter. A lot of times when you come through grad chapter, you're not really as tapped into the school. You're just there to get that master's and you keep it moving. If you found a few alum in your career, great. I can't say that. I almost feel like I went to A&T undergrad because of the relationships that I've built. Nice. When I go back to homecoming, there are people that I know, and I feel just like a person who went, undergrad. So Aggie pride is not just something to yell out loud when you see another person in blue and gold. It's
Mm.
true pride that emanates through um, each one of us who have experienced what it was like to be a part of Aggie land. And when we find a fellow Aggie, it's an immediate, let me pull you up. How can I help you? What can I do for you? So that's the experience.
Excellent. That's good to know. I've got young kids, and I know, hopefully, anyhow, they take the college route and go through that experience. I didn't go. I went to a technical community college here in Ohio, so I don't even have the full college experience at all. But it's nice to hear, kind of like what that experience is like for other people, because I definitely like to steer them in that direction for sure. Let me ask you, what you got your bachelor's in communications, but then you decided to pursue a degree in IT. Like, what drove you towards technology?
Apparently, technology was the key that I needed to succeed. I am technical, but I am no tech whiz at all. I will not claim to be. It's not my favorite thing. However,
Okay.
to reach some of the roles that I wanted and to at least have a chance into some of the companies that I wanted to be able to apply to, I really thought that going back to school to get a degree in IT would be a good addition to my bachelor's degree, which was in communications. Communications is so broad,
Okay.
and there are so many things that
Right.
you can do with it. It kind of does not coin in on anything, but IT coins in a
Hmm.
little bit more, and you can really have a concentration, so to speak. So I took the
Gotcha.
opportunity, instead of going to just get certifications or getting an associate's in IT. Hey, go to grad school and then have that collaboration of your IT degree with that communications degree, and let's try it again. Let's try it again. So that's what drove me into IT. It would have been computer science if I could have gotten into that program, but anything technical
Mm.
when I was trying to get into these companies, that was the key. That was the key to pursue.
Okay. So it was more of a to kind of complement your communications degree and get into those technology companies that you wanted to get into.
Yes, absolutely.
Gotcha.
It
Cool.
should have it should have
So
always
go
been
ahead.
IT. I'm sorry, it should have always been IT, to be
Mm.
honest with. As far as I've gotten in my career, I should have pursued that in the beginning, but you don't know what you don't know. So when you do know, you do better.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny. I had a roundabout way of getting into IT myself. I always was interested in it, but life happens. You make certain decisions, and then you change those decisions later on, and things. And I had to get back into it. It was later, a little bit later on in my life, more later than what I wanted, but I felt it. I just had this conversation with a good friend of mine. It was exactly right on time for me. Yeah, because I probably wasn't mature enough to handle not the work or anything like that, but like, when you start in IT and you start working your way up, like the money, and that's a huge reason uh, why Blacks in Technology exists. It's to get more Black people into tech, but it's to also, kind of push them forward along the financial spectrum, right? Like it allows you to be able to generate this type of income and money that you can put into other things that you can slowly start to build some generational wealth from. Uh, I say that to say, like, had I had that money too early, and then I probably, who knows what where my mind was at the time. I probably it was right on time for me to have what I have. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Um,
I
so
get it.
you're on this pursuit of technology. Um, so did you have any role models like growing up, but that you could like relate to as far as tech goes?
To be honest, I can't say that I did because my family was either in the medical field or in factories. So
Got you.
The thing that I followed with tech is that in high school, I was involved in in a lot of STEM programs and organizations. I saw the
Mm,
opportunities that they opened up from high school to college. And then in college, digging
right.
deeper into, even though my undergrad was communications, it was, surrounding mass media. I was always intrigued by the technical aspect, being the production assistant, directing, producing, doing
Yeah.
audio video production type of things like that. It was always the piecing together of things, not
Mm,
necessarily
yeah.
being a reporter or things like that. So
Yeah.
the technical aspect has always been an interest of mine, even in
Right.
mass media and communications. And it was just an automatic. It was an automatic from, you know, I graduated with that degree, but I never really got a good job with communications. And so I was drawing blood in a
Mm,
laboratory for about 5 years. And I'm like, this is not me. This is not my life. And it was like, what do you like to do? I like marketing and events and things on the communication
mhm,
side, but I'd always
mhm.
had that knack for tech.
Nice, nice. It's funny that you mentioned that the audio, the production, video production, all that stuff. It's That's kind of how I got my interest in tech as well. A friend of my mom's actually was he was going to school at a place called Southern Ohio College for like audio and video production, and it was he would take me up there sometimes, like on Saturdays. We would actually catch the bus and we would go up there, and he would show me like all the audio and video equipment and the huge production board and everything like that. And he was also like really good with just building things. Like he had a mind for electronics. He would show me schematics. He would say, "Hey, this is what this is." He would build little gadgets and things like that. I remember he built this PA system into his car one time, and it was just stuff like that that really fascinated me and grabbed my attention. I was like, "Oh, this is pretty." Not only that, like back then when like I don't think I knew any other black people who had that level of technical acumen that he had,
Yeah,
and that
yeah,
that really drew me to him as well, and drew me to the industry, was seeing that and seeing a black man as intelligent as he was, doing some of the things that he was doing, kind of running the show, with the audio and video production, because he actually utilized that to do audio and video production for some local businesses. Like he'll do like video for the church, a local church, and things like that. He video their Sunday sermon, things like that, and he would bring me along to those as well, help and have me help him set up and all that. I just thought it was fascinating. So it's
yeah.
it's 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 funny that you kind of had that same route. Um, let's talk about Cisco. It's a huge company, very huge company. I actually used to be Cisco certified back in the day. But tell everyone who might not know about Cisco, who Cisco is, and what you do for them.
So, Cisco for me has proven to be the ideal technical company that it promised it would be when I was external. When I was on the outside trying my best to get in. I remember
Mm,
reading Cisco said, "Be you here." Since I have been there, I've been there for about 3.5 years. June will be 3.5 years. And I have
hmm
been myself in every aspect of my life at Cisco, through
Nice.
tragedy, opportunity. I mean, if I did have pink hair and was tatted from my neck down, I would still be acceptable at Cisco. Cisco takes
Nice.
pride. Absolutely. Cisco takes pride in diversity and allowing us to express ourselves. It's having that comfortability sometimes allows you to be
Yeah.
the best person in sales to your customer. You get to open up. You don't have to put on this personality. You get to be the very best parts of yourself so that you can give the best parts of yourself. Then
Mm,
I realized, well, I came to find out what inclusive communities were, or what most people know them as are,
Okay.
and I found the Connected Black Professional Space. And I came in during a pandemic. So a lot of people, we weren't going to the office. And so you're at this big
Right.
company. And I always heard people talk about how they would walk through the halls at times, and when they see somebody that look like them, it's like, oh, it's somebody that looks like me. And so not even being able to walk through the halls and see people that look like me, it's like, how in the world am I going to get acclimated at this big company and find my people? And so there was CBP. And I was added to the room, our WebEx space, by a colleague
Mm-hmm.
who was actually a good friend of mine we'd known each other since the 6th grade. And she worked at Cisco. She added me to the space, and everybody just gave a big round of welcome of, I'm glad you're here, and XYZ. Time went on. I saw that there were roles open to take a role of leadership on the e-board for
Mm-hmm.
the RDU chapter, and I raised my hand.
Okay.
I raised my hand to be a part of the communications and events pillar. Interviewed for it, pretty much got the role. And then I saw that there was an opportunity for a co-lead for the chapter. And in my mind, I'm like, you're not ready for that. You're not. So just do communications. But when I spoke
Right.
to that same friend who I'd known since the 6th grade, she was at the time that co-lead. She said, girl, do the co-lead role. That is you. That is totally you. You can handle it. And I think that you could probably turn it around because the pandemic had really brought everything down. And it was the best
Mm.
decision that I could have made. Being a part of that inclusive community is how I met Bobby, and how I'm even a part of BIT now. That community
Nice.
has allowed me to meet different, have been to be a part of different projects. 2-3 weeks ago, I was at Howard University with our social justice impact office, and I met the cast of A Different World because of a project that Cisco is sponsoring with the cast of
Oh,
A Different
nice.
World. Well, it's called the Human Takeover. It's A Different World
Okay.
HBCU college tour. So CBP is an entity of Cisco. It is the biggest
Right.
entity for me of Cisco, but even outside of that, even in my day job, I get a chance to really work with some amazing people and make amazing
Mm-hmm.
connections with other companies that are aligned to Cisco. And it's full circle. I always said I wanted to work there, and I am. And I think I'm doing really good there.
Excellent. Thank you for the history around that. Um, and that's pretty cool too that you got to meet the cast of A Different World. My daughter, her middle name is actually named after Cree Summers, um, who was Freddie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a crush on her back in the day. So, um,
She's real cool. I can tell you that. Real cool.
so tell us a little bit. Oh, is she? Okay. Very cool. Tell us a little bit about, kind of what you do there as a project manager.
So I'm a marketing project manager in our
Okay.
HR organization, which we call People and Communities. We try to keep it as not corporate sounding as possible. I
Mm,
support I support projects in our benefits space and our compensation space. Any of the
okay.
SharePoint sites that need refreshes from one fiscal year to the next, I work along with the stakeholders to get that done.
Mm,
Our benefits program, there are so many benefits, and this happened to a lot of people at their companies. We have so many benefits that we pay for every month, and we hardly use them. Most of the time we're concerned about medical and 401k. Well, what
yeah.
about tuition reimbursement? What about employee resources like therapy for things like when tragedy happens? um,
Hmm.
it's so many different benefits that you have at your company, and people are not aware. And so part of
Right.
my job is to work along with our benefits team to put those communications out there for our employees to know what they're paying for. We have money coaching, we have career coaching. I mean,
Mm.
it's so many, and we're paying for this, and a lot of people do not use it. So it is my job to be able to pull those things out along with my stakeholders in that benefit space and find a way to educate our employees so that they will stay abreast and utilize what they're paying for.
Gotcha. Um, so what I like about your journey is that you are melding these two, which can sometimes seem like disparate worlds, right? Like the tech world, and you're melding that with your communications degree and being a project. Because a lot of people, I shouldn't even say a lot of people, there are some people out there that might get um, they might get the idea that, oh, working at a tech company is not for me because I'm not an engineer, or
Mhm.
I'm not a web developer or anything like that. And it's good to hear stories of people who are doing things outside of engineering, and they're still making a big difference within the companies, the tech companies that they work for. So anybody who's watching, like, if you have other interests, and you think that you may or may not like be a person that can work at a tech company, like, think again. Like, there's so many different avenues within a company and within tech companies that you can pursue in order to kind of work within the realm of tech. So don't limit yourself thinking that you just have to be an engineer, because that's not true at all. So
Yes,
thanks for sharing that. Um,
absolutely.
let's talk a little bit about the Parker Group. Tell us what the Parker Group is, and tell us what your role in it is.
So the Parker Group it's located here in Raleigh, of course. It's led by project managers who have over 10 years of experience in, event management. I hate to say,
Hmm.
well, not hate to say, I will also say life coaching, because that is a lot of what we have been doing, helping people
Mm,
rebrand themselves. If they, had this image before, but they want to pursue this type of career, and people won't let their past
yeah.
life go, finding ways to separate the past from the present and the future. um,
Yeah.
business marketing as well, branding, event logistics, operations, social media management, all of that. In it are the things that encompass what you need in order to make your businesses grow, to make sure that your
Yeah.
image match what you want people to think of you, and basically just staying on top of your brand and who you are, and to make sure that you understand your worth and your value, not underselling yourself, you know
Yeah.
staying up to date with the times and the expectations. So a lot of people hear consulting, and they're like, oh no, that's I won't say that, but that's a scheme that I want to get get into. I don't want to say that particular brand. I don't want the smoke.
Right.
But that etiquette, the teaching of soft skills, sometimes you can't teach that, but sometimes it is teachable if people understand what they need. Conflict
Mm,
resolution, just the things that we don't think really matter when it comes to our growth, or when it comes to
yeah.
people wanting to work with us and use us for business. So that's what the Parker Group mostly does. It's a big ball of enhancement for pretty much the things that people need to enhance their lives.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Like, I love I love that whole thing. It's so crazy that nowadays, like, in the age of the internet, social media, like, it's so needed for people to, leaders, or not even leaders, just every day. I was actually looking at getting my sons, because I have a son that he's like he's a swimmer. He's like a champion level swimmer at age 14. And I was like, yep, we need to get on his branding and marketing and everything right now, because not only is he a really good swimmer, but he's a black swimmer. And
Yeah.
if you know anything about swimming, there's not a lot of black people at any of
Yes.
these swim meets. But
Yes.
I felt like, him being who he is, his personality, he's a handsome young man, like, and the fact that he is really good. Like, I had, like, let's market it, let's brand it, let's go the whole nine, and put you out there, and in the day of NIL deals and all this stuff, it's, he could set himself up, for something great down the line. So, um, people nowadays, it's much needed. It's much needed. I need some work doing that myself.
Hey, let me know. We can do this.
So, okay, all right. Tell us a little bit about how you first learned about BIT. I'm always interested in knowing this because Dennis Schultz, who's our executive director, he handles like the day-to-day operations of the Blacks in Technology Foundation, which all of our chapters and everything, all our members are underneath. And I'm on the board of that, but I don't always get to interact with a lot of the leaders. For one, he does a lot of that communication, and two, there's so many now. We've grown, fortunately, we've grown to be pretty big, and I don't know everyone. So I always like to hear, like, how'd you hear about Blacks in Technology?
So, two ways. One, I have a good friend who went to church with Bobby, and this was
Okay.
like last summer. And she said, "I think you need to talk to Bobby McNeil." And I was like, "Who is that?" She was like, "He's the president of this group called Blacks in Technology." So it was on my to-do list to look this person up on
Right.
LinkedIn and touch base. Well, I did, but Bobby never responded. Bobby never
Uh-oh.
responded. He didn't leave me on red, but he just never responded.
Yeah. Okay.
So like I said, that was last summer. About September, October ish,
Hmm.
a colleague from which pillar? Our professional development pillar at CBP, for the RDU
Okay.
chapter. She touched base. She pinged me and said, um, I want y'all to meet Bobby McNeil. He's the president of
Uh,
Blacks in Technology for the RDU area. I think that Cisco, CBP, and BIT could do some great things together. I was like, yeah, that's perfectly fine because I've been trying to get in touch with him anyway.
the universe was
So
talking.
absolutely. So she did a soft introduction for Bobby, myself, and my two colleagues, my two co-leads,
Okay.
and we ended up on a meeting maybe about 3 weeks later, and we
Hmm.
talked about the relationship between Cisco and BIT.
Okay.
I sent Bobby a separate message and I said, I want to talk to you about me and BIT. And
Mm.
so he said, okay, it's perfectly fine. So we got a quick meeting, maybe like the next day or two. And I basically told him, what I saw about BIT, what I really appreciated, and how I wanted to get involved more in the community outside of Cisco, as BIT touches a whole lot more areas and entities.
Yeah.
And so
Hmm.
usually they would choose people to come to the board that have been more like active in the
Right.
events and things. I'd never been
Hmm.
to any BIT event. I'd never really heard of BIT until it came to my
Mm.
attention. And
Yeah.
he said, well, we're going to see if we have room. We do have some roles, but we did just fill some on the e-board. But
Hmm.
I think this could be a really good relationship to leverage because we've been trying to leverage this relationship with Cisco. If we could have Cisco sitting right on our board, that's a direct shoe in.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. I interviewed
That
with the
is.
team. They said they love me. I got a kick out of them at first sight, and I'm here. Like here we go. And yes, we are using Cisco to the max. Using the building for
Nice.
spaces for events, and it's a beautiful relationship thus far. I just gotta get them to get one of these sponsorship packages, and that's it right there.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know that, I guess, what RDU is in terms of the technology, like that So is RDU and RTP, are they kind of like one and the same thing? And RTP,
So
the Research Triangle Park.
yes. Yes. So as you said,
Mm-hmm.
RTP is Research Triangle Park, RDU is Raleigh Durham. Um,
Right.
RTP is it's actually in Morrisville, and Raleigh and Durham are on the
Okay.
outside, like Raleigh, Durham, Cary, and
Gotcha.
Morrisville. And so Cisco is in Morrisville, and then you'll have Lenovo down the street, and you have IBM across the street. And whichever way you go, you're going to go to Raleigh, Durham, or Cary. So RTP is
Gotcha.
literally like the little triangle that's in the middle of the pizza. It just holds
Okay.
all of it together. That's basically what it
Together.
is. And then of course RDU is RDU is the area in which most of the companies reside, either Raleigh or Durham.
Got you. And I say like people don't may not know that it's kind of like the Silicon Valley of like the East. Would that be a fair assumption?
I agree.
I mean, you have some super big. It's like Cisco and IBM and Lenovo. Like those three alone are huge, huge companies.
Yes. And we have Apple here too.
Oh, okay, I didn't
Yeah.
know Apple was there. No, you
Yeah.
definitely the Silicon Valley of the East. Nice.
Yeah.
So let me. What's the what's been the most rewarding part of being part of Bit leadership?
Being able to see people who usually don't get a chance to shake hands with a VP, a director. Um,
Mm,
they get to come to these events and actually talk in person, give an informal um, interview almost. They get a chance to talk to the very people who could hire them for a job. Bit opens up that door for them to be able to make those connections. And then
mm.
because usually, you apply for a job and you don't know what else happened. You back in the day, we said, who's the hiring manager? Can I get a phone number, or email, or something? You just apply
Right.
and you pray to God, like that's it. But here you get a chance to now you can meet the person and make that connection, follow on LinkedIn, get an email, send a resume directly. Bit opens
Mm,
the door for that, and I am so appreciative to be a part of an organization that has cut those barriers for us. And then
yeah.
opportunities like what I'm doing right now, being able to speak on panels, being
Mm,
being able to speak on this podcast, with something that you mentioned earlier. Just because you're if you want to work at a tech company and you're not technical, that's okay. Do you have transferable
yeah.
skills for the job that you want? Hey, it's a
Yeah.
tech company, but somebody got to run it. So there's HR. Being able to let people know those things and network with people
Yeah.
to say, hey, you know what? You don't gotta do it like that. Come over here. I'm gonna show you how to make it a little bit easier for yourself. It's just a beautiful thing. It really is.
That's wonderful to hear. It the I think that's why like and it seems like such a simple mission. It sounds like anybody, but it really hits home as far as like what we are trying to do in this industry. So, for people who don't know, increase the representation and participation of Black people in tech is our mission. The representation part is huge because I've always felt that in order for us to usher in the next generation, whether or not they're on a path towards tech already or they might not know about opportunities in tech, that representation piece is going to be huge. It's just like you said, people come to these events, they're seeing other Black people in tech, so that's representation. Not only that, they're getting to meet VPs and other executives and meet them in this informal way that allows them to be themselves and not have to, because some interviews can be very formal. um,
Mhm.
and the way that you approach them. Now, I'm not saying necessarily like, hey, like every interview is going to be a formal. I'm saying like sometimes you're trying to impress somebody, or you're gonna come, you might dress up or what have you. But when you're in a like an informal setting, a networking event, and things like that, and you can really just talk to people one on one and face to face, and just really kind of be yourself. Like that really changes the mindset of other people, because then you don't have that mental barrier to whether or not I belong in tech or not, because I don't think I fit what the criteria is, uh, as far as what a tech person is. And when you have spaces like what you all are providing at these events, I think it breaks all that down. Like our tagline says, "Stomping the divide." That's exactly what
Mhm.
we're doing. We're breaking down and stomping that barrier and saying, "Hey, like this is for you. This is for us." And come on in. Welcome to this industry. So I
Right,
love hearing that.
right, absolutely.
Um, and so let's talk a little bit about what drives you as a leader, because you're part of this Connected Black Professionals, Cisco. You're part of the BIT RDU leadership. Like, what drives you to be a leader and championing these DEI efforts?
It took me so long to get here because of
Mm,
all of the blockers that I experienced. Some of them, oh, actually, a lot of them came from just not being privy to knowing what was out there. So if I
mm,
knew that if I had gone to school for tech out the gate, I truly feel like I would have been here in my 20s. And by
yeah,
now I would probably be pushing director level with the grit that I have. I had
right,
to go through a lot of trial and error and figuring this out and what's out there, just not knowing. You cannot help
yeah,
what you don't know. So, for anybody
mm,
that's still feeling like you're not on time, you're behind, if it's because you don't know, you cannot help what you don't know. But you can always ask questions and you can always learn and you can
yeah,
always make a difference in the time that's going to pass anyway.
yeah,
So, with that being the case, if now I am at this point, I'm 33. I feel
hmm,
like I'm on track. I'm going somewhere. What I'm
hmm,
doing is working. Doors are opening. But now
yeah,
I see these young people who are coming into Cisco. They're 23, they're 24, and they're making 70 and $80,000 straight out of school. And I, for a moment, had
mm,
to stop feeling a little bit envious because I'm like, man, I wish I had what they have back then. And it's like, no, rearrange that. Help develop them. Now,
mm,
of course, they've gotten out of school and $80,000 salary at 23 is like 22, 23 is like, man, yeah,
yeah,
I'm rich, especially if you were a broke college student. But
yeah,
if it's not applied accordingly and efficiently, if they are not focused on their professional development, and that
mm,
money ain't gonna last long if you don't have good spending habits. It's not you're
yeah,
gonna start feeling stagnant and you're gonna be stuck at that 80,000 for the next 7 or 8 years. You want to grow.
yeah,
You don't want to stay in that. Enjoy it. Once you reach that goal,
yeah,
enjoy it. But then it's time to keep moving. Let's keep on moving so that you can keep growing up into the better part of yourself. So,
yeah,
being these DEI efforts and these roles of leadership allow me to knock over the blocks for others. And that is something that I
mm,
genuinely love doing. I love to be a problem. I love being a problem solver. I honestly love it when somebody has said, I've tried everything, and then I can almost do something at the snap of a finger. And it's like, oh my gosh, you really helped me. It's not a matter of gratitude or, I need that pat on the pat on the back or the
yeah,
validation. I genuinely enjoy seeing people succeed and win.
yeah. I have to say I agree with all that. Like it resonates with me so much. Um, because I feel like that was part of my journey. I felt like I was late getting back into tech, but then once I got in there, it's like you're right on time. You're where you should be, and I felt a need to give back. I saw some of the things that were developing in my life. Excuse me, developing in my life, and I felt like if there were other people that I can reach, um, I'd like to see them win. Like I feel like I'm winning as
Right.
well.
Right.
On top of that, just like the whole community aspect of what BIT represents is something that I did not have early in my career. That I felt that if that is something that I could help provide, then I feel that it can make an impact in some way, and we'd be all better off as a community and as an industry later on. So I definitely, and like you said, like there were times where you kind of feel like, man, I wish I would have done this earlier. But like I said, it's a friend of mine had to check me on that recently and say, no, you're right on time, because the maturity that you've experienced over the years and all the other things, like it sometimes it takes those steps. Some people want to go from here to here, but sometimes those steps in between is what's needed to help mold and shape who you are and your mindset towards a lot of things. And I think that that's exactly what I needed. So everything that you said is right on point. Definitely.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
what are some non-tech hobbies that you like to do? As we always, we get on here, we talk about the tech journey and everything like that, and but I love to hear, and I'll tell you why I feel like this is important. It's something I actually didn't get to ask Bobby, um, because it's back to that whole representation thing.
Hmm.
Um, because there might be someone that watches this, they might feel like they're on the outside, and then they all of a sudden they may hear, oh, that person's interested in that, so am I, and they may feel like right at home, like, okay, so if they can do it and be in tech, then I can do it and be in tech. So
Hmm.
that's why I like to ask this question. So tell us what non-tech hobbies you like to engage in.
So I don't really get a chance to. I don't really have the time anymore like I like, but um, I can
Mm.
pretty much bling anything. Them headphones you got on, even though I know you wouldn't want that, but Crocs and phone cases, and like since 2013, I picked up a bling stick and rhinestones, and I never put them down. For at one point, I was
Nice.
making $800 a week in orders
Wow.
from bling whatever. I mean, I skates and cowboy hats.
Hey man.
I bling some stuff in this world. But that and that, and I'm a country girl, so whenever I get a chance, if I can go home and hop on somebody's four wheeler or a fish fry, some spades,
Nice.
I'm that's me.
Okay.
A nice ride down the road with the windows down and my moon roof back, and I love Chris Brown. So that's just like the typical spring and summer and fall night on a Friday night, just riding out,
Right.
just enjoying myself. I'm a girly girl, so I love self-care. So just all of the things that
Mm,
separates myself from work, everything that
yeah.
just make me feel good. Those are the, I don't even know if you could say that they are it's a hobby to get your nails done, but it's a hobby of mine because yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned the rhinestone. So way back when I was in high school, um, people around the way used to do their hats, like
Yeah.
their fitted hats, and they
Hmm.
used to do them in rhinestones. And like, I think my cousin was the first person I saw who had one of those, and it was like, we it'll be like a team hat, like a NFL or NBA or something like that, and just kind of trick it out in rhinestones. So we used to go to this place called Capos here, and they do costumes and jewelry. That's where we used to buy the rhinestones at, and just but and people don't know, like, if you've never done the rhinestone thing, it takes a lot of rhinestones to properly
Oh
do
yeah.
something. Like, you don't just put a couple on there and ready to go. No, if you do, because we use not just the outline of the logo, we used to do the entire logo, inside out, everything.
Yeah.
Not only does it, you have to be really precise, and you have to, we put that little bit of glue on there, and we had tweezers. We weren't sophisticated, so we had tweezers doing it, and we would get different sizes of rhinestones depending on how large the logo is. We get the small ones to outline the outside, and the larger ones to fill it in. It took a while to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that you're I'm gonna knock this out in 15. No, you're talking about a couple hours or more,
Yes.
if you really do it the right way.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's funny that you because we used to do that all the time. I had several hats, and my name is Greg, so I had Georgetown University. I had Green Bay Packers hat because I had the G on it, and so I would always do outlines.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's cool. It gives you a chance to, like, flex your artistic and creative side of things,
Mm-hmm.
because they say people in IT and tech, they're creative anyhow. So uh, so that's
I agree.
I yeah, you kind of, you have to be, right. If you're
Yeah.
problem solving, you're trying to think of creative ways of doing things, and usually those people kind of, they have that right and left brain thing going on, the creative side, and the more, I guess, what's the other side considered? I can't think of the word, but
The
it's more of the
the
calculated
professional
side.
side. The
Yeah,
uh,
right. The
the
professional side.
professional side.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so, and you got to nurture that too, right? Like, that's
Yes.
part of it. Like, you can't be all the time in this pocket. Sometimes you gotta step out there, and it's funny because that's how ideas. That's how sometimes I solve problems. I'll think about something in my mind, and then I'll go off and do something totally non-related to that, and the problem will pop in my head. So flex that creative side, because it definitely helps.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So how can people, if they want to get in contact with you, how can they reach out to you?
The best way is LinkedIn. You
Okay.
can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with LinkedIn. Definitely,
Okay.
I would say that's the best way, because all of my other
Mm,
social media accounts are private. That is something that's very important.
okay.
You need to separate your private from your professional.
Oh
Everything
yes.
is not meant to be public. You still have to watch the things that you are posting, but everything doesn't have to be
Yeah.
public, because it does affect your image. So my
Mm.
Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, I don't even TikTok, but I got a TikTok. All of that is private. You want to reach out to me,
Got you.
you want to find me, LinkedIn.
And we'll post your LinkedIn link, profile link, in the show notes, so people can reach out to you. And also, if you're in that RDU area, check out BIT RDU chapter. It's I told Bobby this. It's like our model chapter. It's one of our model chapters. You all do such a fantastic
Oh,
job of engaging the community, and really, lifting, like, the chapter itself. Is you guys do so much. I can't even put it into words.
we
You all do so
do.
much on
I
just
won't lie, we
elevating
do.
elevating the BIT brand. Yeah, I came out there one time. It was like, maybe, I don't know if you were part of it, maybe a couple of years ago in 2022. They had, like, some function outdoor. They had, like, a little cookout, and then they did a tour of this facility. But stuff like that, man, getting the community involved, and understanding who you are, as an organization, and being that open, like, it I know it takes a lot of effort, outside of the 9 to 5s that you all do. And I greatly appreciate it. It's something that I don't take for granted at all. And like I said, you all are a model chapter that a lot of our chapters can really take the blueprint from it and apply it to their own chapters. So thank you all again for what you all do there in Raleigh Durham.
Thank you for that commendation. We do try our best. Absolutely.
Definitely. So last thing, what are some of the things you all have planned? I know I went over this with Bobby, but it may be, who knows who will listen to this one and maybe not Bobby. So tell us a little bit about what you all are doing in BIT RDU. Like, what are some of your goals for this year?
So, of course, we are definitely trying to, right now, one big thing that we're working on is really weeding out those who are benefiting from BIT and those who may just kind of be hanging around for whatever reason,
Okay.
but not necessarily reasons that are building their career. We're trying to, because we want to be as beneficial to our community. When we are supporting Black businesses, we want people who are there to support them, not to just take up a space and maybe not show up, or take up a space and come just for the food. We want to make sure that our members are really engaging. And so just, a little observation, we'd be blind if we did not admit that, it's just a few things that we have seen that we are just trying to find ways to make sure that we are giving the best to those who really want it. We
Gotcha.
started our newsletter about 2 months ago. May will be the third copy of our BIT letter. That's what we call it, the BIT letter. And we're starting we started something called Member Spotlight. So each month we're highlighting a member who is, they're outstanding. They are regular at our events. They support, they come, they actually network, and really showing that they want to be a part of BIT. We're also being more intentional about trying to be a little bit more intentional about our networking efforts. We'll put people in the same room, and a lot of times they go to the people that they already know. We do events with we'll do events with the Black professional networks at RDU, and we'll have Microsoft and Google and Cisco in the room. And what good does it do to network if you go back to the people that you already know? So we're trying to be more intentional about networking activities, like having strategic networking activities that actually force people to start talking to each other, whether that's networking bingo or how many LinkedIn profiles can you screenshot, whoever wins get a prize, type thing like that. So
nice. Yeah.
We're just digging deeper into our members and trying to bring more value.
Excellent. That's good to hear. And if any of our chapter leaders are listening, you can go ahead and steal some of those ideas and apply it to your chapters as well. Like I said, you all are a model chapter, so it doesn't surprise me that you all are finding ways to better engage with the community. So that's very cool. So Andrea, I'd like to thank you again for joining me tonight. It was a pleasure talking to you, talking about your journey, talking about all the things you're doing at BIT RDU. And I wish you nothing but the best in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed this.
Thank you. And I hope to see you at BitCon this year. Are you going to be there?
Oh, I will be there. Absolutely.
Oh, nice. Excellent. Well, thanks again, Andrea. We'll talk again.
All right. Take care, Greg.
Thank you, everyone, for checking out this episode of the BIT Tech Talk podcast. If you liked and saw what you heard, smash that like button and subscribe to our channel and stay in tune with us for our next episode. Until then, keep stomping the divide.